Barbara Alfaro is the recipient of a Maryland State Arts Council Individual Artist Award in playwriting, winner of the Indie Reader Discovery Award for Best Memoir for her memoir, Mirror Talk. Her poems have appeared in various journals, including the Blue Mountain Review, Variant Literature, and Poet Lore. Theater Mad, her selection of short comedies is published by Smith Scripts. Her poetry collection, Catbird, is available from Finishing Line Press. Barbara lives in Lexington, Kentucky, with her little dog, Darby, who doesn't care at all about poetry. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Barbara Alfaro. So, Barbara, you have the mic, and I'm going to spotlight you for everyone. Take it away.
Okay, so thank you, Steve, for hosting this event. I'm delighted to be here and to be sharing this evening with Kathleen and Mary. You know already I asked you to record my reading, so let me know when it's okay for me to begin.
You are good to begin.
All right, thank you. All the poems I'm going to be reading are from Catbird. The first poem is titled La Bella. This is the time during the war La Bella started wearing rainbow dresses. To some, they looked like ordinary clothing, but to those who loved, the dresses contained all the colors of the rainbow. When the beautiful one was a child, she thought she could touch the stars from a hilltop and they would feel sharp and warm. Okay. This next poem is a childhood memory poem. The circumference of something. There we are, lying on the soft carpet, me child size, you a young woman, pedaling invisible, non-existent bicycle wheels imagined in the air. You who held me too tightly and loved lilacs, told me the boy next door would never ask me out if I kept beating him at basketball. Years later, I hocked my wedding band rather than borrow again. Mother, why is it I see the screen door and your silhouette, but not your face when you call me in from play? Clearing my throat here. This poem is titled A Child's Poem. In the second grade, I wrote a poem about God. I compared him to an old sea captain who looked not surprisingly like Santa Claus. I put the words in bunches of 4 lines. The next morning, my teacher read the poem and told me she knew very well I had not written it. I was in my 20s before I wrote another, locked in a marriage to a man who loved sailing. We lived in a house by the bay, but even the gray water and orange sun would not calm our youth. I would sit in a gold chair and write poems till there was nothing in me but the desire for sleep. A cat that I loved very much befriended a chubby speckled rabbit. The two would walk along the water's edge, unaware that they were natural enemies. Once in a restaurant, I heard a man describe deer hunting. You choose the one you want most and then kill it. I repeated the line as if it contained some secret. I repeated the line so I would not forget it. Okay. Now this next poem is dedicated to the memory of my great-grandmother, Celia Sheridan, who on a voyage from Ireland, County Mayo, Ireland, to America, died giving birth to her son, who also died. The title of the poem is At Sea. Your husband holds your daughter's hand as he mumbles something about heaven. Angels very near them both, still listening, like sailors on watch. I imagine you slender with long hair, laughing softly, even when so ill. That's the silly thing we're taught, to be brave instead of sad. Were you a devout Catholic, or did you read the tarot, trembling when the death card turned? Your gentleness, which I am suddenly certain of, is like a white rose in a clear vase. I like to think you owned at least one beautiful dress, a girl's princess dress, soft lace and so feminine, those who saw you smiled. I wish I had a photograph of you in that perfect dress, young, Irish, and susceptible to dreams. Long before the waves, rocking the coffin ship like a cradle in the sea. And this next poem is dedicated to my father-in-law, Arsenio Alfaro. He was a gentle professor who loved Plato. One Christmas I gave him a Plato sweatshirt that he loved. So the title of the poem is Chasing After Midnight. A cricket the nurses were chasing after midnight seemed to amuse the professor of languages, who told his wife in the morning he'd been serenaded by an insect. Strapped to the bed because of attempts to get away, he confounded the staff by speaking different languages, loudly without restraint, as if in a stark Pentecost. Okay, the following poem is a prose poem with absolutely no punctuation. Riley and Lulu. What's your dog's name? Asked a boy of a woman, and not waiting her reply continued, my dog's name is Riley. My dog's name is Lulu, said the woman. Just then Riley, a red dog, reminiscent of Irish setters and German shepherds and other miscellaneous breeds, and Lulu, a beige dog of even more dubious lineage than Riley, interrupted their afternoon swim in the model boat pond to shake splash their owners, a portable radio, a pair of shoes, and me. They swam again, then galloped and chased on the wet concrete, Lulu doing most of the chasing, with the grassy abandoned city dogs on park days know, making strangers laugh out loud, and now intimidated by the sailors who were not laughing. These handmade or purchased boats cost $400, baby, and the pond is, after all, for them, not Riley and Lulu. The older boy attaches a leash to Riley's collar, and the woman bribes Lulu into a semblance of quietude with pets and scratches. But mind you, Lulu and Riley are eyeing each other all this time. They're approximately 5 feet away from one another. And what's this? Oh no, a beagle, well, a partial beagle, bouncing into the pond, a stick between his teeth, guarded as though it were the golden fleece. And Lulu, that hussy, swimming after his neat, patched little body, as though absolutely nothing has happened between her and Riley, for God's sake, chained and barking in pain, while a bumblebee is bugging, pun intended, me. And a little girl lopes by announcing, now my other front tooth is crooked. Okay, this next one I wrote just for fun. And I'll preface it with, I do love the bluegrass. However, the title of the poem is Moving Day. A snake curled toward me as I opened the front door. My husband said, you're in Kentucky. We have no snakes in New York City. We have roaches, rats, and politicians, but we have no snakes in New York City. Manhattan has the Met, the Mets, and Broadway. It has no snakes except a few at the zoo. Dream symbolism says the serpent is a star, signaling good fortune, swell sex, and more. Shining in dreams, sliding through lawns. There are always snakes somewhere, it seems. Okay, now, this poem was written after visiting Emily Dickinson's home. And I just never got over seeing her writing desk, you know, a Victorian writing desk, the size of a checkerboard or a chessboard. And that she wrote thousands of poems on that tiny desk just knocks me out. So here we go. The title of the poem is Sleigh Bed. After days divided into increments of grocery lists, poetry, and baking bread, weary and delighted, you slip into your dark wood single bed and feel soft linens against your skin. Did you exchange hungry kisses with Judge Otis P. Lord on that bed? Or was it sacred space where only dreams and poems were wed? Harvard looted everything of yours except this sleigh bed, its head and footboard slanting outward, where you lay listening and let the hodgepodge of eternity in. This next poem is called Even Indigo. The lover's card in the tarot has all the colors of a rainbow, even indigo. Raphael, winged and unsmiling, blesses a naked woman and man. You brought the battered woman to my dorm room as if it were some sort of shelter for the sad. Listening, I memorize your face. I could not stand near you or the middle-aged English prof, yes, him, without knowing what others must feel often. Augustine tells when you speak a sentence, one word must die before the next is born. I kept ghosts of former loves too long. The title of this poem is Morning Dove. The doves are here, I yelled to my husband in another room, as if weekend guests had just arrived. Something about their quirky elegance always got to me. Visiting our wood deck often, inculcating warmth in the sadness of their sound, bobbing, preening, grooming one another with caring pecks. They seemed in every way a perfect couple. One morning there was only one. Had the partner died from some disease I don't know the name of, or a hunter's bullet? Like a fool, I whispered a prayer. For weeks I saw the doves and not again. I don't know if that prayer was for the dove or me. Familiar with the strength of omens, I know how cruel even soft gray ones can be. This next poem is the title poem from Catbird. Catbird. It began with the catbird lying in the lawn, screechy cries and failed attempts to fly. I stroked its back before it trembled twice and died. At this time, I had a small role in a film, a character described as a bit of a playgirl, a real catbird. At 3 a.m., I'm awakened by loud music on the transistor radio your mother holds beside her, as if she believes noise, idiotic or lovely, keeps death away. I loved her once, when I saw her lipstick hidden under the pillow, like Marlene Dietrich in Dishonored, applying lipstick before the firing squad. No pale mouse would greet eternity. Some, dying, scream at those caring for them. Others are so gentle, hospice staff fall in love with them. Your father was like that. My mother was another, telling jokes even near the end. Irish people are a little crazy that way. And you, my heart, you never complained, not once. Cancer, I wish there were a way to spit that word rather than say it. I see the catbird's bead black eyes before I sleep and dream forgotten things. This last and final poem is about something that simply amazes me. The title of the poem is Sea Fire. Far from the shore and waves, in the deepest part of the sea, luminescent creatures swirl, clever beings who never know the sun, creating and owning light, dragonfish, cat sharks, lanternfish, others unnamed, battle or beckon with glowing bodies, their quick movements startling the water like the surprise of joy. Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure to read for you, and I hope you'll order a copy of my book, Catbird. Steve, you can stop recording now.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Stop recording.